Now the next example of the multicellular thalli are the colonial thalli. Now the colonial forms can be motile or non-motile. Example of the motile form is the volvox, which is from the xanthophyceae, that is yellow-green algae. And the example of the non-motile form is the pediasterum, which is from chlorophyceae, that is green algae. Volvox is a yellow-green alga. It exists as a grand spherical colony. Each little alga within the colony bears two flagella. So this is the grand colony of the volvox, and each cell in the colony bears two flagella. So because of the flagella of all cells in the colony, the alga is able to show the locomotory movements, or it can swim in water. So volvox is an example of the motile colonial alga. Now the example of the non-motile colony is the pediasterum, which is a green alga. Pediasterum is a green alga, and it comprises the part of the freshwater plankton. So you can see the characteristic colony of the pediasterum and how the cells are held together, and you can see how the cells are connected to one another. So here the cells are without flagella. That means the colony is not able to move by its own. However, the colony can be carried from one place to another by the water movement. So the colonial forms may be motile or non-motile. Examples are the volvox and pediasterum. Now the next example of the multicellular thalli is the Pancramatic Thallus. Pancramatic Thallus is a form of thallus that is composed of interwoven continuous filaments, superficially resembling like parenchyma. So in parenchymatous forms, the thallus is composed of continuous interwoven filaments, giving appearance like a parenchyma. Examples are the ulva and chondrus. Ulva is a green alga, also called the sea lettuce. This is a small genus of marine and brackish water green alga. The species have thin one-layered thalli. You can see the characteristic sheet-like thallus of the ulva, which is just one layer in thickness. Now the next example is the chondrus, which is a red alga. Chondrus crispus, also called the Irish moss, is a red alga which grows abundantly along rocky parts of the Atlantic coast of Europe and North America. It shows a discoid holdfast and dichotomous branches in fan-like manner. So you can see the characteristic fan-shaped dichotomously branched thallus of the chondrus, and the plant is anchored to the substratum by means of the anchoring structure that is called the holdfast at this point. So chondrus is an example of the Pancramatic Thallus. So as we discussed, the Pancramatic Thallus organization is basically a modification of the filamentous habit, with cell divisions occurring in more than one plane. So here cell divisions occur in more than one plane, leading to formation of a parenchyma-like tissue. So depending on the nature of cell division, the Pancramatic thalli may be leaf-like, that is foliose, tubular, or as highly developed structures or forms. The examples of the highly developed forms are the laminaria and sargassum. So this is the photo of the seaweed, that is laminaria, a brown alga. You can see the plant body is differentiated into three parts. So this is the basal anchoring structure, that is called holdfast. Now this is called the stem or stipe, and these are called the blades, which remain floating in water. So laminaria shows differentiation as root-like, stem-like and leaf-like parts. But in this case, all of these parts are solely composed of only one tissue, that is parenchyma. The next example of the differentiated Pancramatic Thallus is the sargassum, which is also from the brown algae. Sargassum also shows the stem-like and leaf-like parts. These roundish vesicles are the air bladders. Here also all of the parts, that is stem and leaves, all are composed of only one type of tissue, that is parenchyma. So in parenchymatous forms, we have seen 4 examples. First is the ulva, that is from green alga, then chondrus, that is from red alga, then laminaria and sargassum, both from the brown algae. Now the next characteristic example of the thalli are the Syphonacious thalli. Actually, the Syphonacious forms are not the examples of the true multicellular thalli, but these forms may develop septa during the times of their reproductive phases. Now the example of Syphonacious form is the Vaucaria, which is from the yellow-green algae, that is Xanthophyceae. Vaucaria is a yellow-green alga which is found nearly worldwide. Most species occur in freshwater, although some are marine. Vaucaria species are characterized by multinucleate tubular branches that lack cross walls. So Vaucaria is a filamentous alga. You can see the characteristic filaments of the Vaucaria. Syphonaceous forms are the tubular forms which are hollow from inside. So the filaments are tubular and hollow inside without cross walls. As a result, the cytoplasm is continuous in these tubules. Usually, the cytoplasm contains many nuclei which can move freely in these tubules. These hollow tubules may develop cross walls during the time of formation of the sex organs. The next example of the Syphonaceous form is the alga Botritium, which is also from the Xanthophyceae, that is yellow-green alga. Botritium named after the Greek word Botridion, meaning small cluster of the grapes, is a unicellular yellow-green alga. It is differentiated into an upper subaerial part and a branched rhizoidal part which penetrates the soil. The subaerial part is globose or pear-shaped and measures 1 to 2 mm in diameter. So in the image you can see the globose single-celled habit of the Botritium. This globose part is hollow from inside and it contains cytoplasm and many nuclei. This globose part develops these rhizoidal branches which help the alga to anchor to the substratum or soil. So here you can see all of these rhizoidal branches originating from this head are hollow from inside. So Botritium is also an example of the unicellular Syphonaceous form due to its characteristic Syphonaceous rhizoids. Now the next example of the Syphonaceous thallus is the green alga, that is Codium. Codium is a green marine alga. Anatomically, a Codium thallus is composed of single giant branched tubular cell containing multiple nuclei, and the branches are usually called the siphons. So in the image you can see the characteristic dichotomously branched fan-like thallus of the Codium, much similar to the thallus of the red alga, that is chondrus. But here Codium is the green alga. So internally all of these branches are hollow inside. So in Syphonaceous forms we have discussed 3 examples. First is the Vaucaria, which is from the yellow-green algae. Then the Botritium, which is also from the yellow-green algae, but it is unicellular. And the third is the Codium, which is from the green algae and which has characteristic fan-shaped appearance. So friends, this is all about the range of thallus structure in algae. We have commented on the thalli in unicellular forms as well as multicellular forms. So in unicellular forms, we either get the motile or non-motile thalli, and in multicellular forms, we either get the filamentous, colonial, heterotrichous, Syphonaceous or parenchymatous thalli.